It all began with a simple idea. I wanted to grow potatoes, but my usual beds were full. I had heard whispers of people growing them in odd containers, buckets, old tires, and even paper bags. The paper bag idea seemed the most unlikely. My friends chuckled. "A paper bag, Monty? It will turn to mush in the first rain." I must admit, I had my own doubts. A thin paper bag against the elements and the weight of soil and water? It sounded like a recipe for a muddy mess. But the gardener in me is always curious. Sometimes the most rewarding things come from the silliest experiments. And so, with a healthy dose of skepticism, I decided to give it a try. The appeal was undeniable, especially for those with little space. Imagine growing a crop of potatoes on a small balcony or a tiny patio. No digging up the lawn, no building raised beds, just a humble paper bag from the supermarket. This method promised simplicity and accessibility. If it worked, it could open up gardening to so many more people. It felt like a truly democratic way to grow food. This thought was what truly spurred me on. I wanted to see if this cheap, easy method could genuinely yield a decent harvest. The potential to inspire others to try, regardless of their garden size, was a powerful motivator. So I gathered my supplies, which were amusingly simple: a stack of sturdy paper bags from the weekly shop, the kind with strong paper handles and a flat, square bottom. These seemed the most robust. I looked for the double-layered ones, thinking they would stand the best chance against the moisture and the strain of growing plants. I was embarking on a small adventure in my own garden. My goal was not just to grow potatoes, but to test a theory. Could something so flimsy, so disposable, become a vessel for life? Could a simple shopping bag really become a miniature garden plot? The questions were many, but the only way to find answers was to get my hands dirty. My skepticism was my constant companion in those early stages. Every step felt like a gamble. I pictured the bags splitting open after a heavy downpour, spilling soil and tiny potatoes all over the patio. I imagined the paper slowly disintegrating, leaving the roots exposed and the plants to wither. These were the problems I expected. A complete and utter failure was a very real possibility. Yet there is a certain joy in trying something that might not work. It is in these moments of uncertainty that we often learn the most. And so, with a smile and a shrug, I set out to prove myself and my friends either right or wrong. The great paper bag potato experiment had officially begun. The first practical step was choosing the right bags. Not all paper bags are created equal. I selected the strongest ones I could find, the kind designed for heavy groceries. The key was the thick, often double-walled paper and a sturdy, blocky base that allowed them to stand up on their own. Before adding any soil, I prepared them for their new life as plant pots. I took a pair of scissors and carefully poked several small holes in the bottom of each bag. This is absolutely crucial for drainage. Without it, the bag would become a soggy swamp, and the potato tubers would surely rot. Good drainage is the foundation of all healthy container gardening, and this was no exception. Once the drainage holes were made, I addressed the height of the bags. They were quite tall, which was perfect for what I had in mind later. But to start with, I needed them to be more stable. I carefully rolled down the top edge of each bag, creating a thick, sturdy cuff about halfway down. This simple fold did two things. It made the bag much more rigid, helping it hold its shape. It also made it a more manageable size for the initial planting. The bag now looked less like a grocery carrier and more like a proper, albeit unusual, plant pot. It was a simple trick, but it gave me a bit more confidence that this might actually work. Next came the growing medium. Potatoes are hungry plants and need a light, free-draining soil to form good tubers. A heavy, claggy garden soil would be a disaster in a container. So I mixed my own compost. I used a combination of about half multi-purpose, peat-free compost for nutrients and half coco coir. The coco coir is brilliant for retaining moisture while keeping the mixture light and airy, preventing compaction. This blend provides the perfect balance of food, water retention, and drainage, giving the potatoes the best possible start in their new paper homes. A good soil mix is like a good pantry. It has everything the plant needs to thrive. Finally, I prepared the seed potatoes themselves. I had left them on a bright windowsill for a few weeks before planting. This process, called chitting, encourages the potatoes to sprout. You will see little purple or green shoots emerging from the eyes of the potato. These are the beginnings of the new plant. Using chitted potatoes gives them a head start and can lead to a quicker and more reliable crop. I chose a variety known for being good in containers. With my sturdy bags prepared, my rich soil mixed, and my seed potatoes sprouted and ready, it was time to bring them all together. The foundation was laid. The day of planting arrived, full of sunshine and anticipation. I began by filling the bottom of each cuffed paper bag with about 4 to 5 inches of my lovely soil mixture. I gently firmed it down with my hands, but not too much. The goal is to create a stable base, not a dense brick. It is important to have that airiness in the soil. I then placed 2 seed potatoes in each bag. I spaced them out, making sure they were not touching. I positioned them with the strongest sprouts pointing upwards, like tiny arms reaching for the sky. This orientation helps the plant grow straight and strong from the very beginning. With the seed potatoes nestled in place, I gently covered them with another 3 to 4 inches of the compost mix. They were now tucked in, ready to begin their journey. The key here is gentleness. You do not want to damage those delicate sprouts you so carefully encouraged. The initial planting depth is not very deep, which is intentional. This is part of the hilling process that we will come to later. For now, the potatoes were covered, safe, and had plenty of loose soil to push their first roots into. The bags felt surprisingly stable with the weight of the soil in the bottom. Watering was the moment I was most nervous about. I had visions of the paper dissolving before my eyes. I used a watering can with a very fine rose attachment to deliver a gentle shower. I watered slowly, allowing the moisture to soak in gradually rather than flooding the bag. The paper darkened as it absorbed the water, but to my great relief, it held its structure perfectly. The trick is to water the soil, not the bag itself. Aim for the center and let the water seep outwards. The bag will get damp, of course, but if you are not blasting it with a powerful jet of water, it should hold up remarkably well. I placed the bags in a sunny, sheltered spot on my patio. Potatoes love the sun. They need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight a day to produce a good crop. The bags were arranged with enough space between them for air to circulate, which helps prevent fungal diseases. And that was it. The planting was complete. Now all there was to do was wait, watch, and water. The initial stage was a success. The bags had not split, the soil was in, and the potatoes were planted. The experiment was well and truly underway, and my initial skepticism was beginning to turn into cautious optimism. Within a couple of weeks, the first signs of life emerged. Bright green shoots pushed their way up through the dark soil. Seeing that foliage was a genuine thrill. It meant the seed potatoes were happy and growing. Once the leafy shoots reached about 6 inches in height, it was time for the next crucial step, hilling. This is where the design of the paper bag truly shines. I simply unrolled the cuff of the bag a little and added more of my soil mix, burying the stems until only the top few leaves were showing. This process is vital for a good potato harvest. Hilling does 2 important things. Firstly, it encourages the plant to produce more tubers along the buried stem. More stem underground means more potatoes. Secondly, it protects the developing tubers from sunlight. If potatoes are exposed to light, they turn green and produce a substance called solanine, which is toxic. So, by continually adding soil as the plant grows, you keep the potatoes in the dark where they belong. I repeated this process every few weeks. As the plant grew taller, I would unroll the bag a little more and add more soil. The bag's flexibility made this so much easier than in a rigid pot. As the weeks turned into a month, the plants grew into lush, bushy foliage, spilling over the tops of the now almost fully unrolled bags. The paper bags themselves were changing too. They were no longer crisp and brown. They had softened and weathered, taking on a darker, more organic appearance. They were stained with soil and watermarks, but they were holding together. They were surprisingly resilient. Even after a few heavy summer rainstorms, they remained intact, a testament to the strength of simple paper. They sagged a little, but never collapsed. They had become part of the garden, blending in with the other pots and plants. I fed the plants every couple of weeks with a liquid seaweed feed, diluted in my watering can. This provides a good balance of nutrients to support the strong leafy growth and, more importantly, the tuber development underground. I kept the soil consistently moist but never waterlogged. You can check this by sticking your finger an inch or two into the soil. If it feels dry, it is time to water. The plants were thriving, the leaves were a healthy deep green, and there were no major signs of pests or diseases. The combination of good sun, regular water, and feeding was clearly paying off. The paper bag potato patch was looking like a remarkable success. After about 12 weeks, the signs of harvest time began to appear. The lush green foliage started to yellow and die back. This is a perfectly natural signal. It means the plant has put all its energy into growing the tubers underground, and its life cycle is complete. I stopped watering for the last week or two to allow the skins of the potatoes to firm up. The anticipation was immense. The bags had held up, the plants had grown well, but the real test was what lay hidden beneath the soil. Had all this effort resulted in a decent crop, or would I find just a few tiny, disappointing marbles? The day of the harvest was like Christmas morning for a gardener. There is no elegant way to do this, which is part of the fun. I simply took the first bag, laid it on its side on a tarpaulin, and carefully tore the paper open. The softened, damp paper gave way easily, revealing the dark, rich soil within. I plunged my hands into the soil, and my fingers immediately met the smooth, firm surface of a potato. I pulled it out, a perfectly formed, beautiful potato. And then another, and another. It was a treasure hunt. The soil was teeming with them. I emptied each bag in turn, and each one delivered a wonderful surprise. The yield was far better than I had ever dared to hope. I had a mix of sizes, from small new potatoes perfect for boiling to larger ones ideal for baking. They were all clean and healthy, with no signs of scab or slug damage, which can sometimes be a problem when growing in the ground. The loose, friable soil mix I had used had allowed them to grow into good shapes without any restriction. The total harvest from just a few paper bags was enough for many family meals. The experiment had been an unqualified success. Looking back, this simple method has so much to offer. It is incredibly space efficient, perfect for anyone with a balcony, patio, or even a sunny doorstep. It is low cost, reusing bags you might otherwise throw away. And at the end of the season, the bag and the soil can all be tipped directly onto the compost heap. There is no plastic pot to wash and store. For beginners, it is a fantastic, low-risk way to experience the joy of growing your own food. I wholeheartedly encourage you to give it a try. Find a sunny spot, grab a bag, and plant a spud. You might just be surprised at the wonderful results.